I know I have some clients who have talked about using AI for color palette generation, and in some cases it's been okay, and in some cases it's been just rather flat and boring. So it's really been a toss-up. So I'm going to give 3 platforms a challenge: Gemini, ChatGPT, and Claude. I'm going to give it the same creative brief for a brand that I've actually already designed, but they don't know that. I'm not going to give it the name so that it can look it up. I'm going to give it a general creative brief of what the client wanted. And I want to see, one, how close it comes to what we actually came up with. And 2, what level of variety are we going to come across, right? Like, and who's going to be the best, and what does the best mean? Okay, here we go. We've got the prompt. Hello there. I need you to help me come up with a resonant, aligned color palette for a new client, actually a client from 2024, brand already done, who owns a yoga studio. One of the core pieces of her philosophy is providing yoga for any shape and size. She doesn't promote the art of the pose, but more promotes the ability for a body to take whatever shape it wants. The atmosphere is friendly, welcoming, cheerful, playful, and womb-like. Act as an expert and soulful brand designer and give me one palette that would both match her brand and make her stand out in the yoga category. Here's the color palette from ChatGPT. It called it the Playful Womb color palette. All right. That's kind of lovely. All right, so what did it give me? It gave me the colors and sort of the meaning, how it works, best use. Okay, that's lovely. Okay, not bad. This is what Gemini gave me. The Radiant Cocoon palette. And what I noticed is, except for the moss green here, this color palette is basically the same color palette as ChatGPT's, except there's a little bit more of a darkness in the hues. Like, it's a little bit more earthy. That is also nice. One of the things that you want to do is, whenever you're having AI generate a color palette for you, is to test the contrast, run it through an accessibility tool, test how the colors look like on top of each other. So for example, if I put warm alabaster on top of smoky plum, that's going to be very readable. Those are going to pair nicely. These two are going to be probably a bit harder to read on top of each other. These two are going to play really nice together, warm alabaster on deep terracotta or vice versa. These two you wouldn't want to put on top of each other. This palette doesn't have as like the higher contrast capacity. I would say this, so far of the two, is my lesser favorite in terms of usability. Okay, now we're going to go to Claude. Now Claude, I didn't even have to translate manually into a palette. Claude showed me the palette. So already I am great friends. Like, thank you for doing this. And not only does it show you the palette, it shows you the contrast, the accessibility, readability, usage, what colors to put on what other type of colors. And this just, it's very harmonious, and even breaks it down into primary palette and the accent palette. So these colors are what you might use for links and buttons, and this is the primary palette here. Color rolls, mood, power pairings, love it, love it, love it. Ember and papaya, what beautiful colors. So now we're actually going to look at, in 2024, what color palette did we create? You ready? Okay. Here's the color palette. Much more vibrant, but it's probably the closest to this one, except we switched the accent and the primary palette. So for us, our primary palette was deep purple and magenta, like gem tones, and our accents are the warm, papaya and copper and gold. And so if you want to take a look at her Instagram here, she's a very vivid, gorgeous person. This is Afterglow Yoga. Now, given I didn't give AI a ton of personality background, or the fact that before she did a redesign of her brand, that her colors were a very fun Lisa Frank-like palette, wanted to keep a vibrant palette, but to evolve it, right? To mature it. And so we've got a lot of womb, like vibrant womb and metallics in her palette. And she has done so well. See, she even has a light palette, that she can work with. And we designed this logo, and oh my gosh. Yeah, I would just I want to go in and do yoga in there. That looks really amazing. That she really went the extra mile of translating her brand visual identity to her space. I give her an A+. So I would say I'm going to give the award to Claude here. It is the closest. Only is it the closest, but it is the most usable and professionally presented. And it even shows you the colors within the chat. It took me, 20 minutes to put these together. And that's just looking at the colors, right? Based on this single experiment, I would recommend using Claude to, at least include Claude when you're developing color palettes with AI and, not a designer. But it's good to really, to try different possibilities and then test the usability of them. Don't just be attached to one way of doing it. So, which color palette was your favorite? Or maybe did colors come to mind before I even showed you anything? Write to me in the comments below. I'd love to hear and talk about color and the meaning of color. If you are enjoying my videos, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. And until next time.